Majulah sukan untuk negara. That's a line we've often heard when it comes to describing sporting events, sporting tournaments, and when we are asked to show support for our athletes. But what about those who stand behind the podiums, stand in the stands, holding up Jalur Gemilang and show support to our athletes? What about them? Welcome to another episode of Life in the City podcast. I'm your host, Farid Wahab, and today we're going to talk about the people, the supporters who go to stadium, hop from stadium to stadium to show support for our athletes. We have with us here today Mr. Lee Seng, who is president of Famemas Malaysia Sports Supporters Club, Famemas for short. And we also have Mr. David Foo, who is president of Selangor Special Olympics Malaysia, a non-profit organisation set up to identify and nurture athletes with intellectual and developmental disabilities. Thank you, Mr. Lee. Thank you, Mr. Foo, for coming and agreeing to join us today.
Thank you.
So, I think we are now in a sports season. You know, we just had our the World Cup concluded, and we have, I think, Sukma coming up soon. So it's a hot season for sports fans, and oftentimes a lot of focus tends to go to our athletes. But I think a lot of people might not know so much about the sporters, right? When we watched sporting events in TV on TV, we would see, oh, who are these people holding up Jalur Gemilang, playing the drums. But you guys actually play quite a important role, right? So before we begin, I just want to start with you, Mr. Lee, if you don't mind, right? You are the president of Famemas.
Yes.
So maybe you can tell us a bit more about what is Famemas and how did you guys begin?
Oh, well, Famemas, as the word Famemas, and is we are the so-called the short, in short, famous Malaysians. It means fame and Malaysia, the two words combined, it becomes Famemas. So historically, we have been around since 2002, since the Busan Asian Games in Korea. And every year we have various cheering programs where we support our national athletes, providing them with vocal and moral support at multi-sport events, either internationally or locally. So those are the big events that we are the so-called organized cheer group. I think many other Southeast Asian countries may not have what we have in Malaysia.
How did it, I already know this, but our listeners probably don't. Like, how did you guys start initially?
Oh, it started when a sponsor came forward to send 100 supporters to Busan Asian Games.
This was in 2002, right?
This was in 2002.
Okay.
So that was for a 1 week period. Everything was fully sponsored. So when we came back, some of these supporters decided to move on, to continue the tradition of cheering for the country. Why let this 1 week trip, just die a natural death? So that then we gathered a few hardcore supporters and we met somewhere, and then we formed this association.
You guys decided to band together and say, okay, we're going to keep doing this.
Yeah, we decided to at least move on to the next event, which was the Vietnam SEA Games the following year in 2003 in Ho Chi Minh City. But we had a smaller crowd. Yeah, about 40 times 2, about 80 of us. Yeah.
Mr. Foo, if I'm remembering correctly, you were also a member of, you still are a member, right, of Famemas, right?
Yeah.
So how did you remember at that time?
Because initially, this was started when Mr. Lee came to meet us to discuss, and because I'm a sports enthusiasm, so that's why when he gave the idea, then we said, okay, good, proceed with it. And that's why when the second trip, that's why we sent about 84 participate to support Malaysians in Vietnam. That is where we can see that the enthusiasm of the supporters, which give the motivation to the players, that they feel that they are home ground to them. So that this is what you think that we're supposed to keep on continuing with it.
I actually want to tell our listeners that I actually had the pleasure of joining Famemas during their recent trip to SEA Games in Bangkok in December was an 8-day trip, right, Mr. Lee?
Yes, it
so
was.
we hopped from venue to venue, So for someone like me, I've never been to a major sporting tournament before. So it was a very eye-opening thing for me because I was like standing shoulders to shoulders with the athletes. I feel like, oh my God, these are stars, So you guys have been doing this for how many years now? 20,
23 years.
20 over years.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Lee, it sounds simple, You guys are just holding up the Jalur Gemilang with the cheering sticks, singing and playing the drums. It sounds simple, but is it really simple? What goes into organizing these sort of trips?
Yeah, it sounds simple to the layman, to the ordinary Malaysians out there. But the amount of preparation, the amount of work that has gone into it to prepare, say, about 20, 30 or even 40 supporters to go to a foreign country is not easy because there's a lot of logistics preparation. You have to worry about the flight accommodation, the transportation, and then also liaison with our Olympic Council, our National Sports Association, our National Sports Council to formulate a specific schedule, a daily schedule from morning to afternoon to night, and to keep our members, our supporters busy whole day, because we are not there for sightseeing or shopping or to jalan-jalan. We are there to really work for the country, to actually we are like an organized group, to put it simply. Not just preparing a group of supporters and go from one stadium to another based on hearsay. We have to be very organized. Our schedule is very fixed.
If I remember correctly, I remember when we were in Bangkok, you did receive a number of calls from sports people, I don't know who lah, but they asked you to come and say, Mr. Lee, come and show us support. So how often does that happen?
Okay, that is natural because every time we go to any of these multi-sports event, because there's so many sports like this kind of Southeast Asian games, SEA Games, where Malaysia has a really good chance to garner many gold medals, silver medals, and bronze medals. So every association, be it basketball, badminton, sepak takraw, they will have requests. They will request us. So when they request us to support the athletes, it will of course interfere with our original schedule. But we don't mind. We can always adjust. We adjust, and then we found out that okay, this is the most important, the event that we need to be there because Malaysia has a truly great chance of winning a gold medal.
Yeah, they'll be like, we might win this, come, Mr. Lee.
Yeah, they will say, okay, please come by 8 o'clock. So of course, we will brave the traffic jam. Bangkok, how jam it is,
Yeah.
And we were there, you were there, sometimes getting from one venue to another takes 1 hour.
Yeah, and we often travel from 9 a.m. all the way up to 10, 11, and depending on what.
So we start early. We start 7 o'clock, we have our breakfast. 8 o'clock, we are already on the road. So by 8:30, we are already in the stadium. And then we usually allocate 2 hours per session. Of course, you have to include the lunch and the dinner, but and also the period that you're on the road. So it's a very, very, very tedious job. Yeah.
Mr. Foo, you are the president of the Special Olympics Malaysia, right? So Selangor chapter, you're the president, right? I think before we go deeper, I just want to clarify a bit because early this year I did a story about the training programs that the association does for its athletes. So I got a number of people asking me, what's the difference between Paralympics and Special Olympics? And I think it's quite, for me, even before I wrote that story, I didn't know the difference. So I feel like it's important that we clarify, right? So maybe you can tell us a bit, what's the difference between Paralympics and...
Basically, a lot of people have a misunderstanding that because the word title OKU. So most of them, they categorize them as one group of OKU. So basically, Special Olympic and Paralympic are two different entities. Paralympic is more to physical disability. That's why you can see that a hand handicap or their leg or their eyes. Whereas Special Olympic is more to ID, intellectual disability. So that's why that they are totally different identity and their training are totally also different. Because Para is more to performers. And Special Olympics is more to every child are given a chance to perform.
Like those with ADHD, autism, Down syndrome.
Down syndrome, even though you're slow learner, all these are under our side. So this is that every child are given the opportunity to play and to represent the country. This is where our philosophy of objective that do not let for any single child. No, this is why there's a difference between Special Olympic and Paralympic.
So I understand that you also regularly accompany our Special Olympics athletes overseas, and I think you told me just now that you were gonna accompany them to Hong Kong.
Yep.
For a regional bowling tournament, right?
Yes.
So I mean, for Special Olympics athletes, how often that you get to see supporters, or you mean how often does it happen for them?
Basically, no.
Not much.
So not much of any supporters. Basically, the supporters are their parents and other countries' parents will support. So that's why we as a Malaysian supporters have to play a bigger role to support all sports. Which I look into the point that because every sports are unique. That whether they have any supports to support them. Because special child is also different. They have their own special child support their own special child when they play well. They will shout and scream and cheer for them also. This is also something to motivate them. That's what our normal players also need. We famous to go there to support. Right now, Lee?
Yeah, P.
This is where, like for example, I always remember the first match when we been in Vietnam, Lee. You remember that when we went there, the Chinese, the first match, and we went there as famous. Then we are not called as famous. We are being called as the yellow team. Because famous wear the yellow t-shirt. So that's why, and then Vietnam said that the Malaysia won because of the yellow team. So this is one thing that we feel proud of our supporters to went to support Malaysia. And then that's why Special Olympic also need supporters to support them. And also, I think we also did that once with Lee together to done we call it a unified game inclusion that a lot of the famous members also understand actually what is Special Olympic about. Okay, this is what totally two different entities.
We have worked together with Special Olympics in the sense that we had a bowling clinic, a bowling tournament at the...
I think we covered that, yes.
Yeah.
A few years ago, yes.
Yeah, a few years ago. So I think parents, the parents of the kids were there as well to give support. And of course, our members plus those well-wishers. Yeah.
Mr. Lee, I wonder, I mean, you've done this for what, 20, 30 years, right? Have the athletes ever come to you and say, hey, thank you? You know, what has been the reception among our athletes? Are they supportive or what?
Well, athletes, of course, when they are not performing during the day, they will also join us at the stand. Like what happened at the SEA Games, in Cambodia, Thailand. They will be there to also cheer on to their fellow athletes.
Yeah.
Because after their program has finished, they will not be going back to Malaysia immediately. They will stay on for the closing ceremony. So they will join us, and then our supporters group become bigger. Instead of only, let's say, 40 or 50, we became like 70, 80. So that's good. So, but we will provide them with the cheer materials, the kompang, the flags, the t-shirt, the banners, the
slogan,
pom-pom stick. We call it cheer stick. So we will hand them a few sets of on their own. Then we will provide the cheer. We will come up with we have a few cheerleaders. So everything is all laid out. The most important thing is we are going as a team, the cheer team. Whether you're from Famemas or you're just athlete, we are cheering for the Malaysian contingent.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Foo, I mean, how important it is for Special Olympics athletes to have cheers and supporters in the stadiums?
Okay, basically, we did once, which is very unique because why? Special children always have a phobia of gathering with a lot of crowd. They have a phobia because they don't feel safe. So when we did a practice of putting them into a room with putting a mirror with people shouting and screaming to comfort them to come down to feel that these are all your Malaysian supporters. And then they do understand that they have supporters back behind them to support them. That's why when we were in Berlin, we came back with a very good result.
Okay, that's something that I've never thought about. Okay, Mr. Lee, it's not always that we win. Sometimes, I think we went to a number of events and we were not winning, but we cheered it anyhow. So, like, maybe you can tell us, how do you respond to that? You come, all gung-ho, all ready to cheer, and then our athletes are not winning. How should we respond to that? How do you normally react to that?
The trick is, we must not only be there when they're winning, we must also be there when they are losing or when they are down and out, when they feel a bit sad. So our role is actually to cheer at all times. So, and also to answer to your question, we don't only pick popular sports like badminton, football, hockey. We are in multi-sports events like SEA Games. There are something like 40, 50 sports. So we have to crack our head to be at events like at sports venues like archery, chess, petang, even fencing, where some of these sports are not familiar, are not popular among Malaysians. But we still have to be there. Like chess, we cannot cheer. E-sports, we cannot cheer.
We did cheer for
Yeah, we did cheer.
And we won. Our women's team won gold, I remember.
Right, and we were there towards the end, remember?
And they were surprised that we came. I remember that, yes.
We were tipped off by one of our members that we were on the winning side. We were like, they had a marathon 7 hour, 4 to 5 hours. But at the end of it, we were leading.
Yes.
And when we went there, we actually turned the tables around, and our esports athletes, they were so happy to see us, that they finally won the gold medal.
Yeah.
And there were celebrations throughout the whole day.
I remember the matches that I remember were the ones when basketball.
Yeah.
And we went up against Singapore. So we won, I think, by 1 point. I think it was a very closely fought match. And then we also won, what's it called?
Netball.
Bola jaring. Oh, sorry, netball. We won.
Call it netball.
Netball, yeah.
Bola jaring.
Netball is for the women, right? And then we also won basketball, was it? Also against Singapore. I think we won by 1 or 2 points, and it was very closely fought. And we cheered like insane, I remember.
There were a few sports, but I can specifically mention the sport of netball, where when we entered the stadium, it was full of, we were playing with Singapore, our closest neighbor, right? And we were actually trailing.
Yeah.
Actually, we were trailing, and the stadium was full of Singapore supporters. They came in bus loads, about 3-4 bus loads.
I think they outnumbered.
They outnumbered us. They had about 200 old supporters. We only had about like 20 to 30 plus people like from the press,
Yeah.
So, but our cheers were more coordinated. We had better cheer materials. We had kompang. We had flags. We have we were colorful. So at the end, I think when we went into the second, towards the third quarter and fourth quarter, we managed to turn the match around. Of course, the athletes were telling us what to do, because certain times we have to keep quiet. Certain times we have to keep quiet. Certain times we have to shout as loud as possible. At the end, I think you're right. We won by 1 or 2 points.
Yeah, I remember because I took the pitch.
Yes, and we wrested the gold medal. And Singapore, they were the favourites.
They were very strong.
They were very strong for women's netball. But at the end, we won it back. I think maybe after a hiatus of two or 3 SEA Games. So I can also mention 2 other occasions, not specifically for the Thailand SEA Games 2025, but at the Korat SEA Games in 2007, we were playing basketball, women's basketball against Thailand. Thailand was the host, and the stadium was packed, was full, completely packed, and I think we had only about 40 to 45 Malaysians inside.
45 is famous supporters.
Yeah.
Which was sitting in a group. Our athletes came in, they sit opposite of us. Because during that time, it was not been synchronized together. Their side was the cheering was so-called complicated. Here shot and there shot. So when after the first session, then the athletes came over to us together and we sit together when we synchronize the cheer and we overturned.
We overturned the match. We won by a single solitary point. 1 point. And we became the SEA Games gold medalists for women's basketball. And another occasion was, I remember very clearly, was badminton in 2005 at Manila SEA Games, Philippines, where it was the badminton team event. And I think we were trailing. When we went, we were actually late because of the jam. You know, the jam in Philippines, in Manila. It took us about 1 hour to get from one venue to another. So by the time we arrived, we were trailing 0-1. 0-2, right? 0-2, we were trailing. But we managed to turn it around to 3-2. 3-2. At the end, it was 3-2. It was a team event. People like our athletes, not Fu Kok Kiong.
Yeah, Fu Kok Kiong.
No, that was 2005. Hafiz. That time, Muhammad Hafiz Hashim, Wong Chun Han, I remember all these players, they were there. And they were so happy to see us.
Because they didn't expect that the famous supporters, because you see, when they have been trailing 2-0, there looks like the hope is not there. And they didn't expect that the famous last minute get able to make it. That's why when they feel that they are, as I mentioned before, most of the athletes, when you have the cheer team inside from Malaysia, they feel like they're in the home ground. So the atmosphere of them playing is more comfort. That's why we have two cheer is very important. That last time we used in Philippines, when our players are down, you always use the word, it's okay, it's all right. Come on, Malaysia, fight. This is where that we give them to tell them, cool down, okay, fight. And then the other second one which we used to do is that north, south, east, west, Malaysia is the best. So this is something to tell them, you don't worry, that we are there to support. So that's why the things is totally different. That's why very important when we do the cheering, the synchronize the cheer, that give them the motivation. It's very important.
You find the cheer that suits the situation.
Yes. That's why when they are down, so we have to use this cheer. No, it's okay, it's all right. That means tell them, don't worry. Come on, Malaysia, fight. So that means they feel like, okay, I don't have to worry. I just keep on playing.
We have short cheers. Our cheers must not be too long. But of course, during the interval, when in between matches, we will sing the Raku or the
song which we go in the marching one is Wira something.
Wira Malaysia. But of course, the basic ones are Malaysia Boleh, Go Malaysia, Go Malaysia Go. Then of course aided by our kompang lah. Go Malaysia Go, pap 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 pap. Go Malaysia Go, pap 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 pap. Those are very striking, very sharp. The players hear it. We must give them motivation words, not demotivating words.
Mr. Lee, I remember you told me about the SEA Games in Jakarta.
Yep. That was really good.
Yeah, can you tell me this? What happened?
Repeat it again.
Yes. About when they throw stones, you know what happened there?
That was 2011 SEA Games. Some of my supporters, they were in Palembang and some of our supporters were in Jakarta. So the football event was in Jakarta. I was specifically in Jakarta.
No, you were in Palembang first. Then fly over to Jakarta.
I was in Palembang with some of my supporters. Then I flew over to Jakarta to join another group. And the very, 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 very heartening note here would be when we were in two buses.
Hang on, before you go into that story, just to tell our listeners, this was the final match.
This was the final football between Malaysia and host Indonesia.
Okay.
At the Senayan Stadium.
Okay.
Istora Senayan.
Okay.
They had this is like our Bukit Jalil lah. They have badminton. They have football in the same sports complex. So when we must thank the Olympic Council of Malaysia and also the National Sports Association and the Sports Secretariat in Jakarta SEA Games at that time for helping to coordinate the whole thing. They arranged two buses. Our members were there, were inside the bus. On the way, we have to leave from a certain part of the city. Hidden. We have to be hidden. Our curtains were drawn we must not let the outsiders know who are sitting inside the bus. So when we go in, we were escorted in through a special part of the stadium, and then when our bus landed in the middle of the football field before the match started, just like the American soldiers, like when they arrived during the Vietnam War, they actually airlifted from the rooftop of one building.
Okay.
So we were actually landed in the middle of the field, and then all the Indonesian supporters were already sitting in the stands. Then we were escorted from the middle of the field, one by one, all lined up, and then we went up to the stand and we sat in front of their president. At that time was President Bambang something, Bambang Suprianto.
I cannot remember.
I can't remember the name. Bambang
sorry.
Suprianto. So the president of Indonesia kept a good watch over us, make sure his citizens don't do anything naughty. But the fact is, when we were on the way to the stadium, our coach was rocked left and right. They used their hands to the bypassers. The bypassers were rocking our buses. They were throwing stones at us, but of course they didn't. They really damaged our bus lah. Our buses got into the stadium safely. After the event, you know what happened? We won during the match. We beat them. We beat the Indonesian team 1-0. 1-0. I still remember that event. And then after that, we were worried how are we going to get out of the stadium. So same thing again. We have to go out through the toilets, through the back of the toilet, and then into the bus, and then again escorted out of the stadium with the curtains drawn. That was really a amazing memory for me.
Okay. Luckily, nothing untoward happened. Yes. I mean, sporting events can be a hype, can be a very emotionally charged environment. Yes.
You know how volatile, how fierce, how ferocious these Indonesian supporters are. When they support their team,
They support their country. They're really patriotic.
Yeah, they are so patriotic.
And that is SEA Games. One can imagine if both of us qualify for World Cup.
That would be a very big difference.
Mr. Foo, are there any sports in Malaysia that you think deserve more support? People always talk about badminton and football, but what are the sports that people tend to overlook that maybe we should give more attention to?
I think basically because every sport needs supporters. Not only say particularly about badminton or football, but most of the supporters, their interest is only particular choosing sport that they are interested in. That's why it's very important that for Famemas, that we need to well organize and we need to do something which we knew that whatever event that we wanted to support, we should let our Malaysian citizens know that this is going to have a spot in this. Those who are interested, please come and gather together and cheer together. Because basically now, I don't think that most of them, which is in locally, they don't sit together and cheer together. Everyone have their own way of cheering because everyone's heart are different feelings. Then they do not synchronize them. Like what happened to Indonesia, the patriotics, until they just sing the same tune of cheers. That Malaysia have not to that level, which I think is very important for us, that if we have this level, all sports can be cheered because every sport have their own supporters, but it's not being trained to cheer on the right way only. That's all.
I remember when I went to because I used to watch sports. I mean, SEA Games on TV. So I normally watch swimming, the ones I like. What's it called? The gym rama. They call it gym rama, right?
Rhythm
Rhythmic gymnastics. Swimming, diving. But when I went to the SEA Games in person, physically, I went to see fencing, wushu, things I wouldn't normally care about. So I was like, wait, this is actually quite interesting, And I remember I actually stood behind the podium or something. I can't remember. There were a number of wushu athletes around me. So I remember they were very nervous and they were very they were sweating all over. And I was like, wow, this is actually, like the real deal.
The tense of so-called because I myself have been playing for games, so we know the feelings of the tense, that when you are there without support back behind you. So when you have someone who cheer you and console, so you will have a different of atmosphere when you come up to the stage to perform.
Yeah.
So this is very important. Like you mentioned, what are the sports that they need supporters? Actually, all the sports needs. Like you mentioned, Wushu. Wushu is very well known that their sport is more to mind and concentrate. So that's why when we have our team that was been seen by them, although you don't cheer, but it's been seen by them, they will feel more comfort because I have Malaysian people who are behind me. So this is very important. Like, for example, Lee mentioned that the chess. I think we went there in 2023 that in Vietnam, the chess game, which cannot cheer. But when we were walking around with the chess players who are playing, they feel like they have Malaysian there to support them. So this is something that should be happen. That's Malaysia, although whether whatever sport it is, but make sure that our supporters of Malaysians are there to give a moral support to them, at least being seen physically.
I want to start looking ahead. Mr. Lee, what are your, what is Famemas priorities now? What are you looking forward to in the next 2, 3, 4 years? Are there any events you are looking forward to?
Of course, there is so much to look forward to in terms of events. Next year will be a big year for Malaysia. We have the SEA Games in KL, Kuching, Penang, and 4
locations, right?
4 locations. Of course, Kuching will host the bulk of the events. So we have not really decided whether we are going to Kuching or KL yet. But in terms of the coming, there are many events coming. There are Asian Games in Nagoya, Aichi coming. We just finished all our members were all busy with the World Cup, right? The football. Yeah. But of course, Malaysia didn't qualify lah. Yeah. But there are many more events which we cannot have too many. A big team like SEA Games. SEA Games is the so-called the biennial. Every 2 years you have the SEA Games.
And it's regional.
And we have the cooperation from the CGF, SEA Games, Southeast Asian Games Federation, whereby we can go into the stadium using a accreditation pass. Every host of the SEA Games will offer AD pass to all other participating countries, so we can get in and out of the stadium free of charge. So that will aid, that will help our planning easily. Of course, we must also thank people like OCM, MSN, and ISN, Kementerian Belia dan Sukan, and of course, our relationship with them is very good. They have helped us over the years.
How about Special Olympics Malaysia, the Selangor chapter, Mr. Foo? Are we looking forward to anything? What are we?
Okay, basically now, as you can see that there's a lot of people doesn't understand Special Olympic. Special Olympic is the same thing as the Olympic Games that they will have every 4 years. They have the World Games, World Summer Games, and World Winter Games. So next year will be our World Summer Games, which will be held in Santiago, Chile, and that Malaysia are planning to send supporters there. The players there to play. Basically, tonight we will have a selection of players that we will select to represent Malaysia to go for the World Games. And then by looking at it, because a lot of opportunity will be given up. So the major one will be on World Games. But recently coming up one, we will have one bowling regional game in Hong Kong. There will be having about 10 countries participate, and Malaysia will be sending 8 players. Okay, and then after that, then we will have another basketball regional game in Philippines. So this is what whenever regional games, we will be invited to participate. So that is why you can see it's a totally different. Regional games is not necessary to be how many years. It's just up to the host whether they want to organize a regional game. We organized the badminton last year, regional badminton last year in KL. So it's a very successful, but also same thing, about 10 countries turn up to play. So it's something that we try to so-called expose out to more special child to come in to join into our activities.
I understand that our Special Olympic athletes have actually been doing quite well. I think they have won a fair number of medals in the past, right?
Yep. In 2023, we sent only about 16 athletes to Berlin, and we came back with 4 golds, 5 silver, and 9 bronze. that is one of the most successful story that we can say that Malaysia have done with 16 athletes.
Okay, that's quite an achievement. But anyway, I think we need to wrap up soon. So before we do, Mr. Lee, is there anything that you want to add? Anything that you think Malaysian sports fans should know?
Well, we would like more Malaysian fans who are interested in sports to come on board to join our Famemas Sports Supporters Club. We can be seen and be heard in the stadium together. They can, of course, follow our Instagram group. We have our Facebook group. We also have our Telegram group. We have also many WhatsApp groups. So we encourage through our recruitment membership campaign for Malaysians to come together, and we will plan together to organize the SEA Games campaign together next year, which is not too far away. It's in September next year. So we like young fans, especially the younger people, to come forward and join our official Malaysian Sports Supporters Club. The main aim is to uplift the athletes' performance vocally and morally. Yeah.
Okay, it's a good goal. Any expectations for the SEA Games? Anything? I mean, we are hosting, right? So normally for SEA Games, it's the first country that wins the whole thing.
Of course, host countries always have the advantage. They will always try to formulate formula where they can win as many gold medals as possible and host the type of sports that Malaysia is good at, excel in.
If I remember correctly, like the host country has the right to introduce certain sports event or something. I need to go and look at the.
Correct.
Yeah.
Of course, like when Thailand hosts the game, they introduce sports like Muay Thai. Yeah. And when Vietnam hosts the game, they had something like Vietnamese fin swimming. If I remember.
Okay.
So likewise, Malaysia will definitely have our own sports. Like
Philippines have the sport dance.
Philippines have their sports dance. Malaysia, we are good at pencak silat.
Okay.
Maybe pencak silat.
We don't have
and diving. You see, we are the powerhouse in diving.
Yes.
Malaysia.
Too bad when we were in Bangkok, we actually missed.
Remember? I think you remember. We were late. We arrived when we arrived there. The diving event was over. But at least we were there including the prize giving.
The prize winning.
Prize giving. So that is still considered as giving support to our athletes.
Mr. Foo, anything you want to add before we wrap up this podcast?
I think basically like for the Special Olympic, I will look into the point because now a lot of special child, they are not being brought out and exposed up to the society. Then I hope that if the opportunity, they are being brought out, that for them to giving the opportunity for them to learn by using sports. So from sports, they were able to learn to be independent and how to handle themselves. Okay, thank you.
I think just for me, I mean, I'm not as dedicated as you guys. I mean, I watch sports, but not as much as you guys do. I remember when I was in SEA Games, when we won, right, and we had Negaraku played, in a foreign country, it felt different. I've heard Negaraku a million times over here, but hearing it overseas, and all these people from other countries, they stood beside you and they had to be silent as a sign of respect. There was a different kind of feeling there,
Yeah.
I think I uploaded some videos and my mom saw them on my WhatsApp status and she was like, wow, I'm not there, but I felt
Because the feelings are different.
Yeah.
The atmosphere that gives you that you're proud of your country, that your national item has been sing over there. So this is what for Famemas is that we are always proud of our country. When every event we went there, when we hear our national items.
All right. So anything else to add before we close?
Yeah, I would like to thank the Star for
the opportunity, giving us the opportunity to elaborate more to the so-called the listeners to understand actually what is the difference between Paralympic and Special Olympic, and maybe they can have a better exposure to understand more if they want.
All right. Thank you for tuning in, guys. So Live in the City podcast can be viewed on our YouTube channel at The Star online or www.thestar.com.my/metro. So stay tuned. Have anything to say, feel free to leave your comments in the comment section. I'll be reading them. Thank you.